Hi guys, welcome back to the Rad Hyrox podcast. Today we've got a little bit of a different one for you, a bit of behind the scenes at Hyrox with Hyrox assistant race director Suzy Keeping. She's also raced for Hyroxes, so she's been an athlete as well. And we met up with her at London Olympia, and I think after that race and seeing 3 days and that many athletes go through, we just wanted to find out what goes on behind the scenes and how the team put that epic event on. So thanks for joining us, Suzy.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh no, it's so nice to have you on, and yeah, like you say, get a different angle from Hyrox. But before we get too into that, could you just give us a little background on yourself? Obviously, you've been in events, and how you kind of got into Hyrox, and your job role, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So in my day job, my normal job, I have my own events company, and we own a couple of venues. So we do like big live music events, and we work more things like music festivals. I do a lot of corporate events, a lot of like marquee weddings. Cool. So yeah, it's a bit more like of the corporate world. I've not really ever done much with sport. Essentially, I used to do a lot of catering at stadiums, so like Twickenham, Edgbaston, Wimbledon, but I've never sort of been involved in like the facilitation of a sporting event. But yeah, so to give you like a really sort of quick overview, had a pretty terrible lockdown. Like I had a horrible time. I put on a lot of weight, was not a happy girl, and coming out of lockdown, found this gym, which was amazing. It's called Empowerment Training Centre. It's in Northampton. We love it. And this is like 2020 probably. So Hyrox is kind of like just gaining sort of momentum in the UK as far as I'm concerned. And I am not at this point a gym girly. Like I've not ever been really into like my fitness. Like it's a totally different world for me, and certainly one that in my mind is like very clicky. Like it's not for me. And like I'm like 100+ kilos at this point, just so you know, like this is the sort of difference in my life. And I joined this gym, and they were like, oh, we're like kind of getting into this Hyrox thing, and we were one of the first affiliate gyms, which was obviously really cool. And so my coach was like, let's all go and just like do it, and whatever, we'll just have a really fun time. And we went to Hyrox Birmingham, and there was 400 athletes, like I think competing that weekend. So like 400 across the whole weekend. So we were like, oh, it's really fun, but it's like this cute kind of little event, like no pressure. And like we really were like, not that it wasn't going to take off, but it wasn't super intimidating for me at that time, because I mean it was, but it wasn't like it on a crazy big scale. So we went, and we were like, you know, how cool that it's something that the everyday athlete can do. Like, love that. So I did my first Hyrox at like, I think I was 95 kilos, right? And then I did my second Hyrox, and I think I was 85. And I did my third Hyrox at 75. And Hyrox for me was a really massive part of my, like, I don't want to say weight loss journey, like it was about weight loss, because it actually wasn't. It was about sort of mental, physical health. But Hyrox was just this like staple for me in this process. And it was something that I knew I could come back to and like try again. Like I did this and I did this well, let's have another go, let's try it with another partner. It just felt like a really safe space for me. And I hope that it's the same for other athletes coming into it. And I always recommend it for anyone that wants to sort of try anything a little bit competitive, but not really, really intimidating. So I think the format works really well for that. So for me, I felt very like, oh, Hyrox has really sort of helped me out. And then I went and did, I had a really not very nice shoulder injury. So I severed the nerves in my shoulder, which was an absolute nightmare. Yeah, and I felt like, oh, I've been doing so well, and now I can't do anything. So I actually wanted to still go, because my gym was still going as like a big tribe. Like, I don't know, people might from the pod, if you've been going for a long time, we used to wear these teal t-shirts, and there was always like 100 of us, like so many of us. And so I would just go and like support, because I didn't want to get left out, because so I ended up being like, oh, well, I could just like volunteer judge for a little bit. And again, not from the fitness world. I was like, I'm not qualified to do this, but I just will, like, if I can help, then I will. So I volunteered for a little bit, got on really well with the people that I was kind of working with and volunteering with. So then as Hyrox got bigger, because what you have to remember about this whole conversation is that Hyrox went from like this to this, like what feels like overnight.
Yeah.
It was wild. So yes, there were loads of us that were volunteers that weren't PTs, because at the time it was like, well, just whatever, we'll just get who we can. And you know, at that point it was so small. So I became a head judge for 2 years nearly, while I had my injury, because I couldn't compete at this point and I didn't want to get left out. And just the more events that I did, the more I loved it. And I was just like, oh, there's just so much going on. And the MCs are wicked and the atmosphere is amazing. And I'm just so here for the everyday athlete. Like, I love it. And like, as we kept going, it was like to the point where we would be watching like Hyrox videos on holiday instead of the football. It was wild. Like, it just took over our lives. And so then, yeah, so I head judged for a long time, but made really good sort of mates with the, you know, the crew that just do every event, like the solid judges, and obviously the UK core team that you just keep seeing. Yeah, and then eventually got asked if I would be interested in entering the race director program. So you have to start as an assistant race director, and they have like a couple in each country, which is, I think, a really good thing, because what you have to remember as well is like some countries do the sort of, not run them differently because the race is the same, but the sort of staff setup is different. And the reason for that is because the UK is just like so popular, like people just love it. Whereas, you know, we sell out in like 8 minutes, whereas some of the European events, it's not as in demand as we are here. So it's really nice to, and then what they do is they create a race director team for each event, and you'll have like 2 from the UK and then 2 from Germany or you know, somewhere else,
okay.
so that we can get like a really good overview. And the race director team, like, we're always learning from each other, which is really cool. And I think is a really good way to do it. And then we always have a really good debrief and stuff like that. So they said, would you be interested in doing the assistant race director role? And you have to do 5 before you're even allowed to trial for the race director role, essentially. So you have to do 5 as an assistant, and then to become a full-time race director and be able to go and do that anywhere in the world, then you do an exam, and then you basically have, and then you basically have, and it's just, you know, to make sure, you know, everyone's sort of competent and knows the rules and not going to freak out. And, you know, a lot of it is like my normal job. It's troubleshooting, it's dealing with stuff on the day. Like, as you guys have seen, as the event gets bigger, like, we do have more everyday athletes, I guess. You have more medical emergencies and things like that, just because it's just like rule of whatever you call it, theory. Like, the more people that are there, the more likely you are to do something. And so, yeah, it's really good. I just think Hyrox are always really investing in the team. Like, they want people, like, they're always trying to do like courses and learning and debriefing, and like they as the company want it to get better and better and better. And I just think that shows every year. You just see these improvements coming in. And I really believed in it, and I felt like it had done a lot for me. And I loved every time, even as a head judge, even as a volunteer, when I was like, hey guys, like, here's my feedback. I thought that it was really good, but maybe this could be improved. They listened to me. They actually took what I said. And I think normally with a big company, when you're doing stuff like that, you just don't, you think, oh, they don't care, and you don't feel heard. But every time I ever did that, they were always like, oh, you know, thanks so much for your feedback. Maybe we'll try and put this in place, or this is why this happened, and da-da-da. You know, I just felt really sort of respected and valued as a volunteer, and then eventually as a head judge, and as an athlete. You know, I've given them feedback as an athlete. So yeah, that's kind of why I ended up staying with them, because I felt very valued by the team, which is really important.
Yeah, I think it shows though that, like, I think they are really passionate about what they're doing, and then the people that are like in the core team and the volunteers, like, everyone just seems to be really passionate about the race and the community, and it shows through like how the community has just grown and grown and grown. Like, that's why it's got the success it has, because everyone just seems to love it and be invested in it, and like, want to learn, want to get better, want to make it better, want to like improve every aspect of it. Like,
yeah, I agree. I definitely think it's like, they're just not I'm trying to think of what the word is, like, they're not too proud. Like if you said, oh, I think you could do this better, Hyrox aren't like, no thanks, we're doing this. Like they actually are like,
Yeah.
oh, listen to feedback. And it might just be because I kind of caught them early in the game, but I don't believe that. I still believe that they really, like if you email Hyrox with feedback, they read it, like genuinely. And I think that people often, like, especially when it's coming up to event day, are like, oh, I'm emailing about a ticket transfer and they're not getting back to me. And I think that it's really important to recognize the fact that because Hyrox has grown so quickly, sometimes, you know, like that Hyrox inbox, and this is a few years ago, so it's bigger now, but I remember this one girl on the core team, like, yeah, I'm just in charge of the inbox and it gets like 400 emails a day and I just can't really, you know, but the company was just, and they're in a bit of a better position now. This couple of years ago, but it was growing so quickly that they were sort of trying to keep up with it. And you know, like I remember like we were having a chat about it because last season they were obviously giving volunteer codes as like so codes to get a new race, to get a race place as the volunteer award. And this is only, you know, we're only talking about last season here. And then like people are getting their code, they can't use it quickly enough to get a place, which I totally get, must have been very annoying. Like I do, I'm not disputing it. But Hyrox didn't know that the UK events take off like that. Like it's not like that anywhere else. So I mean, yeah, it's amazing for Hyrox that the UK is so popular. Amazing. But you know, they didn't do that on purpose to be like, haha, I'm going to give you a code that you can't use. You know, they legitimately thought that that was a really good idea. And clearly
that is a good idea in a lot of races. Like I did a lot of mountain biking. If you volunteered in mountain biking, then you'd get the next race, like, or whatever race of the series you could go and do for free. So it makes sense. It's a tried and tested procedure. I guess they've just been a victim of their own success because everyone went mental, and it was more like trying to enter the like London Marathon than it was like, you know, a fitness race like you said, where you're like, oh, this is great, a nice small fitness race that I can go and do. And it's
which
just
is so
gone.
funny. Yeah.
And I think like, it's hard to like foresee these things because, you know, it is growing so quickly, but they only have the data from the previous seasons, you know, so it's hard to like project what is actually going to happen. And you obviously are in a sticky situation where you don't want to over project too much because then you're in a whole different world of trouble. So like it's kind of that balance of trying to foresee some issues, but like I think it's impossible to get it right all the time.
Like with that as an example, they're always trying to like, so that happened this season, so we've learned from it. Now we've got the ballot and we've got the volunteers get early access. You know, every year for me, they're trying to make it better always. So
I think people have to recognize that it is a young sport. Like it hasn't been around for ages. It isn't like it can't take a copy of like another race and do the same thing. It's literally like forging its own like path. So these little things are going to happen, and like they're going to have to test and adjust. And the feedback, it's great that they're taking it on board because that's what's going to create a better, you know, sport going forward, isn't it, for everybody?
I think so, yeah. And people have more, like I certainly did as an athlete, like I had more patience and tolerance for the brand because I felt heard and I felt like they cared about me and what I did, and like, you know, they were so amazing. I know you guys spoke to my best friend Tor, like was it last year, this year?
It was this year, was it? It was like early this year,
When she came on this, like, and they were so supportive. Like they're just like all about the humans of Hyrox thing. Like you just contact them and you're like, well, I've got this idea, I'd like to do this. And I get that they can't do that for everybody all the time because obviously it would be a mega full-time job, but they were so supportive of her and jumped straight on and were like, what can we do and how can we help? And I just think for a big, you know, a brand that is now a big brand and it's getting bigger every day, for them to do that, you know, it was so amazing for Tor what she did, but also like to have the backing of Hyrox was wicked. Like Amber and the media team were just like, nothing was too much, and I just think that's so cool.
No, definitely it shines through for sure. I want to switch it up a little bit and ask, like, so as a athlete being injured for a couple of, well, was it a couple of years or
So it'll be 3 years in September, but I'm like nearly back to normal now, but yeah, it was bad.
Okay, so can we get your perspective on, like, obviously people are always talking about like how to manage injury and how to kind of deal with that. You took a different approach, or a very good approach. You decided to get involved anyway in a different way. Like, is there anything else you could maybe suggest, or why did you decide to do that, or what's your take? How did you manage mentally being injured?
I think I was like, it came at a really rubbish time for me, because I just kind of got on a roll, if you will, with my fitness, and I was like, yeah, and then I just felt like everything had to stop, and I was a bit like, well, you know, why does everything have to stop? But for me, I was like, well, shall I try? But I there was no question. I couldn't do any wall balls, you know, like I couldn't, there's no way I could have done it with this injury. So I just was like, okay, don't. But I had a lot of faith in the brand and a lot of belief in the brand. And I think part of me was a bit like, well, let's put your money where your mouth is. And because events is what I love to do anyway, you know, as a living, I was like, well, there's probably still a way you can enjoy this and enjoy being there. And also for me, like, I'm all about the cheer squad. Like, I love it. So if my friends are running, like, I want to be screaming at them. So part of me was like, oh, well, at least then I can like get on the course. I can get really good. So that was like a really big part for me. Like, I just wanted to be, I like obviously have terrible catastrophic FOMO, and I like couldn't bear to be left out. So that made me feel better about it. And so like, as Hyrox got bigger as well, you know, everyone knows a bit more about it. Like, so my physio that I was having rehab with, then she's doing Hyrox, so she knows what I get better at, and she knows how to help me, and you know, so it was just became a real, like, I can't go anywhere now without somebody asking me about Hyrox. Like, so it became a real, like, a way to be involved without being involved, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And did your background help? Like, do you think because you had the events background, you were like buzzing to see like how it ran and
yeah, definitely,
like what happened on behind the scenes?
Like, I wanted to dissect it a bit. I was like, what's going on here, and like how do we get the insurance, and what, like, all that like nerdy event stuff. I like love it. So yeah, definitely that helped. And I do think like Hyrox, what you have to remember as well, obviously I speak on behalf of myself and not Hyrox officially, but like a lot of the Hyrox team, I think, from what I could tell when I joined, were from the fitness world as opposed to from the events world. So like, I know that Nat, who was the race director, a lot of people will recognize Nat because she's so good at her job. Like, I really think she's played a really crucial part in pushing Hyrox UK to where it is. Like, but she is from an events background, and like, yeah, she's amazing. And I just think that sometimes a couple more events heads are really useful, because you have things that other people maybe don't see. But definitely I was a bit nervous because I was like, well, I'm not really a gym person, and I think sometimes people feel, and I definitely felt like it could have been really cliquey and was a bit anxious to get involved, but it's not like that at all. You know, it's great.
And it's really nice that you had that experience, because I think a lot of people think that going to a gym or I think it's definitely helped with like CrossFit and Hyrox now starting to bring down barriers in gyms and things. But it's nice that you went and put yourself out there to go and like see it, because like a lot of people wouldn't even try because they'd be like, oh no, it's going to be clicky, I'm not getting involved.
Yeah, and I definitely thought about it. I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, it's going to upset me, or I might not, I don't know. And I'm so glad I did, because I just love it. And like now, like, I get the opportunity to obviously go abroad, and we went as a group of friends for someone's 40th. We went to Barcelona. We all went and did a Hyrox. Like, I feel like, does that sound lame? I don't know, but for us,
no.
You know, so it has really enriched my life, and I've sort of made friends through it that I otherwise wouldn't have met. And so yeah, no, it's been good.
I think so many people are like that, and so many people have made really good friends just through the sport, like from all ages as well, like, and met so many people, you know, even like talking to you now, we met you like just by going to London and meeting Tor as well. And you know, you do just kind of surround yourself in like-minded people that are kind of after the same thing as you, and you all have that mutual connection, I guess. So I think they've done really well in creating that. So are you back racing?
So I am going to come back. So I don't know whether you remember. So I did London with Tor when Tor did her solo. Did it in the vest. And after that, I was like, I'm retired. I'm not doing that again. But we are actually going to do a duo in Paris, so that will be
very nice.
my like return. Yeah, so that will be really fun. But to be honest, genuinely, like I just enjoy working them so much that I now I'm a bit like, oh, I could race them, but I quite want to work them instead.
Yeah. So
yeah.
what was your first race as assistant? Which race did you do as the assistant race director? Do you remember like doing the first one and thinking, oh, like...
I think it would have been Manchester and then Glasgow.
Oh wow, okay. And then
Manchester, then Glasgow, then Olympia.
And then how is it like, talk us a little bit about behind the scenes and like the lead up to it, the weekend, like after, like the stuff that nobody sees, because we all turn up, we go to registration, then we go and like warm up, we watch a few people race, then we go and race, and then we finish and we're all like great, but we don't really think like, how did that whole thing happen?
Yeah.
And then when we've gone home and everyone's finished, like who's dismantling it all and taking it away? And, you know, like talk us a little bit through that, like the stuff that nobody sees behind the scenes.
So I tell you what, I remember shocked me when I did my first assistant race director job, which I think was Glasgow. So, you know, when like you go on, when they release the track, right? And you go on like Facebook or whatever group you're on, everyone's like, the track's a different length, or this is or this is a slow track, or this is a fast track, da, da, da. And I was one of those people. So I'm not discrediting it, but I was just like, oh, that track is measured to the millimeter. Like I cannot stress enough. That track is measured so many times, right? From like different angles and different potential running paths, how many barriers, the angle of the barriers, the distance between, so the track is measured, then the distance between in and ski, in and sled, in and sled. So in to in, and then out to out is measured. So each of those distances is measured 3 different times by 3 different people. And then you basically come up with like the average of those 3. And then you see if you need to, you know, because you have to work with the venue, you know, some might have pillars, or like one of the reasons we decided to make the lunges, I don't know if you remember, in Olympia bigger, was because it meant if you hadn't done that, then the angle of the fences to where the spectators were meant that you lost like a foot of track. Like I cannot tell you how specifically that track is measured out. It's wild. I really, and you know what? We put the sled carpet down the first time I was doing it, and we measured out the sled carpet with this tape. And obviously I'm like a newbie, it's my first time, right? And we put the sled carpet down, and it was, I kid you not, 3 centimeters out. And I was like, okay, well, surely that's fine. And they went, no, up. Honestly, we had spent probably 2.5 hours putting this tape all over the floor. And they come around, they're like, oh, no, it's 3 centimeters out, rip it all up and start again. And I remember being like, you're joking? 3 centimeters? Like, what? It is so accurate. So now when I go on like socials and see people go, the track was like too long, or the sleds were like, this was too short, or this was, I'm like, no, it's not.
I had to rip that whole bloody thing up.
Hours of my life doing it. So I do think that's really interesting. But like,
yeah, it is.
It's like Excel spreadsheet, and you put all of the measurements in by centimeter, and then it tells you whether it's okay or not. Like, it's so accurate. It's to the millimeter. I'm not joking.
Man, and you are having nightmares about that track every night.
Honestly, when I think about setup day, and when I remember when I got my like program through, and it was like, oh, setup day, and I was thinking, short day, like how long?
That'll be great.
No, that was one of the longest days. We were there till midnight because we couldn't get the sled carpet right. Let me tell you.
And this, you're saying about Excel spreadsheets, like you're obviously doing maths, you're doing angles. Like this is why you can't just have PTs and fitness professionals doing it. Like, have you got some scientists and like mathematicians in the back there? Like, who knows how to work an Excel spreadsheet? Yeah, exactly. Because I for sure would be like, that'll do.
I'll be like, I'll test it.
But it's good because the format has to stay the same. It has to be consistent across countries, across tracks. Like, I get it. But genuinely, when it was 3 centimeters out and she goes, rip it up, I said, You're joking, aren't you?
Yeah,
Like,
you go, yeah.
nope. So that was my first event. So I'm kind of ready for it now. So I like really sweat, like we need, and it was things like, is it from the front of the tape or the back of the tape? Because that is 3 centimeters extra.
Yeah.
You know, it's so specific, guys. Like I can't even tell you. So yeah, it was a real learning experience. The setup, it was just so much thought and consideration goes into it. It really does.
That's incredible though. And then
And
like
what
this is the
type-
kind of thing, isn't it? That like no one knows. Like you turn up and you think, oh yeah, carpet looks the same.
Say I mean, I know now we've got like 3-day events or whatever, but like say the race was on a Saturday. When do you get access to the venue and to set up? Just the Friday?
Yeah. So it depends on the venue, firstly. But yeah, so they normally get access. So at Hyrox, we have ops team and sports team. So I'm on the sports team because I'm involved actively in the race, essentially. So ops team come in at like whatever time they can get in, 4 a.m, whatever. And they are the absolute heroes that work a million billion hours and drive the trucks around that has all the kit in it. So they come in, yeah, like 4 a.m, and they start unloading the kit. So unload the barriers, unload the ski ergs, unload. So they get it kind of all in the venue. And like stuff like this, you have to remember, like pallets of chalk, pallets of kettlebells. Like we have to have spare ones, and we have to have, you know, very carefully counted. If this ski erg breaks, where are you going to get the next one from? So again, they bring it all in, they lay it all out, and then they kind of roughly lay it all out. And then the sports team come in, just like me, and the other 3 race directors, and we then start measuring and make sure it's in the right place, and we put the tape down, and we put down you know, the signs that say what weight the kettlebells are. We put the chalk out. So ops is very like sturdy, you know, like the sort of infrastructure, and then sports team come around and we make sure, you know, the wall ball targets have got counters and stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's kind of how it works. So sometimes, and it's just luck of the draw, like we could be ready, we could have done setup for track, ski erg, sleds, but like we might be waiting for ops to do, I don't know, put the carpet down for the lunges, and we then can't go any further because we're waiting for ops, but they might have been waiting for us to do something else. So it's a really carefully sort of timed thing, and like you do get used to it the more you do it. But yeah, definitely if you're sort of not all working as one machine, that setup will take a really, really, really long time.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's amazing, isn't it? And do you have your own, like, so you said there's 4 race directors or and this is like that are there. Do you take your own, like, is it like you go and do ski and the sleds, or like do you have your own areas, or do you just all work together one by one? And...
Well, we tend to work in pairs, apart from on the sled carpets. We do that as a 4 because it's such a massive job to get it so correct.
To get it right, yeah.
To get it right. But generally, yeah, we'd probably break up in 2s. And the reason for that is so that we can check each other's work. Like it is double checked and triple checked and quadruple checked. Like there's no room for, and it's not that we don't trust each other, we do, but sometimes if you've been there for like this long, you know, you're a bit tired, you might have measured it wrong or whatever. So we generally split off into 2 2s, and 2 will go and do the ski erg, and 2. And so obviously with things like ski erg, you have to think, so you get them in the right place, and then you get them exactly the same distance apart from each other. So that's really important. Then we have to test them all to make sure.
Oh, you must be knackered at the end of this.
So
and then you race.
To make sure that they've all got battery and that they're all on the right display. So we like to have the big meters, like things like that. It genuinely is so considered to make the experience the best for the athlete. So we make sure we've got all of that. And then if there's anything broken, like if one of the handles is feeling a bit loose or whatever, then we call ops and we say, can you go and fix it? Can you replace the batteries? Or we can do the batteries. But yeah, so you kind of work as a real team. So but we'll split off into 2 bits, and then things like that are less severe. It'll be like, is there chalk by the farmer's carry? And somebody will go, yeah. So they have, Hyrox have like masses of obviously like documents, checklists that you can check, so nothing ever gets forgotten. So that checklist has to be completed by the time you leave that night, or you don't leave that night. So nothing can ever get forgotten, basically. But what you have to remember as well is that sometimes those trucks have come from somewhere else. So like I think like, for example, Olympia was the week after Bordeaux. So you have to trust that the race guys in Bordeaux have put all of that stuff away, because it's coming straight to you. And if it hasn't, then that's a problem. So again, Hyrox have developed this sort of this sort of network, so the debriefs from here go to then these people so that you're ready, and if you need to get more chalk then you can, or if this has happened. So yeah, it's a much bigger process than I think most people realize.
Yeah, that's
so
mental.
How many, like, maybe you don't know this question, but how many sets of stuff is there? Like, surely, what is it, like UK and Europe, and then America have their stuff, and then
I think that's right. Yeah, I think it's like Europe, America, Asia, as far as I understand at the moment. Again, I might be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But it's used in Europe also.
Okay.
So they use like the same kit from race to race, or they have a few lots of kit that go, because there's sometimes dual races going on at the same weekend,
no, so they have like extra kit, but like all of the kit gets moved around together, and you use what you use. But
that's crazy
on like the venue and how big it is, and depending on how many pairs can go off at once. Like if there are 20 sets of doubles, then you need to make sure you've got sort of 26 sets of kit or whatever, in case something broke, or in case what the problem that arises is when, and you will have seen it in races, and sometimes it just happens, and we are doing our best always to like make sure that doesn't happen, and that falls heavily on sports team. But if you get a wave of athletes and some are slower, and then you get a wave of athletes and some are quicker, and then you've got more people coming into the rowers, the place where it gets stuffed up, we all know, right, we've all seen it, is the wall balls, because I think it's the end of the race, people are really tired, but sometimes you can just be really unlucky. And all the wave formats work the same way, the same numbers go off. In theory, it should work like clockwork. We all know that people don't do it in the same time, but if you have a wave of slower people and they kind of get a bit stuck on the wall balls, but power to them, it's hard, like right. But then you have athletes that are flying and want a PB, they're flying and they want to get in, and then they get there and the rig is full. That's a nightmare. And sometimes that does happen, and that is very, very unfortunate, but it's happening less and less, and we do our absolute best to make sure it doesn't happen. And things like the new wall ball targets, like the theory of that is always, like, Hyrox always trying to find stuff to make that smoother process. So what we have done in the past, and is the protocol, and what is normally down to me, because I wall ball judged for so long and now I'm race directing, is that I will be at the entrance with a stopwatch. I start the stopwatch when they go to come in, because obviously they can't go straight to the rig. You stop the stopwatch when they start their reps, and then that gets deducted off their time essentially at the end. But yeah, it's a real shame when that happens. It obviously doesn't happen very often. And again, we work really hard to try and avoid it all the time, whether that be making the rig bigger, but don't forget, if you make the rig bigger, you need more volunteers. So it's just like a real fine balance.
Yeah, it's so hard, isn't it, to get that?
What is the wave numbers? Like, what's the maximum
so it's different. It's different depending on the venue. So it depends on the size of the venue and how big the track can be. And sometimes
who decides? I've got all the questions now. You've got to start. Who decides like the layout of the venue?
So I actually think I don't know who originally decided the original layout, but obviously depending on venues, I might be wrong on this, but I think it's Nat, who's the she's UK event producer now. Used to be race director. Nat, got the lovely red hair I said about earlier. So I think Nat does all the CAD drawings, and again, they're done. The measurements on the drawings should be exact. So as long as the venue has sent the right drawings over, Nat can make sure those plans are perfect. Like, I'm pretty sure, if I remember, we had a problem with, I think it might have been Dublin, where the space that we had didn't actually match the drawing. So like, what is Nat supposed to do? She's going in a bit blind, but she managed to move something around and it was fine. But yeah, so she has to do that. But sometimes
she sounds like a ninja.
Mate, she is a ninja.
That sounds like the most pressurized job. Like, how?
It's like, because that's hard enough in itself, just even like deciding, because obviously Hyrox have come up with this.
You can't decide where to put a sofa, let alone set up a whole Hyrox one.
Literally, like, but it is an event that's obviously standardized, but like, because it is different venues, like, it can be set up in different ways. So it's like, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And like I think we had like in Olympia, it was like because I love the Thunderdome thing, right? I love it. I think it's so cool. The atmosphere is wicked. You know, the like stands by the wall.
Yeah,
I love
so you
that,
can
but I
see
think,
over down into the wall balls, isn't it?
yeah,
It's
it's
like,
so cool. The Thunderdome theory is like such a good idea. I
Yeah.
love it, and it makes really good hype and it's fun. But what we had, I don't know whether anybody noticed at Olympia, is that when we originally set up, because of the space, we put the merch behind the Thunderdome on day one. And
we did know, yeah. I was like,
hey, so that was like on the plans, that would have been really clear and it would have looked fine. Sometimes in operational, you know, life, it doesn't go to plan. And so we were like, well, nobody can get there. Nobody can figure out how to get there. Nobody can buy any merch. So people are annoyed because they want merch. And honestly, it was like probably, I think it was like 1 a.m. We'd just finished on the Friday night. And it was like, okay, guys, who wants to help move the merch? And we were like, you are kidding. You're joking. You're joking. And then it was like, but, you know, again, they want everyone to have the best experience. The people want merch, give the people merch. And so we thought it was
I've
like,
got to say, the next day, because we went every day when we were in London, and the next day it was so much better. Yeah. We were like, fair play, because we did notice.
Oh man,
we were like, what the hell? What time are they doing that? Now we know 1 a.m.
Yeah.
But like we
did it at 1, but then we had to leave the venue by 1. 1 was the curfew, so we did like half an hour of it, and then we got to 1:30. We probably got back to the hotel at like 2. Had a McDonald's on the floor in the lobby because we were all so tired. Like, we're a real team. It's like real team vibes, so you just love it. And then the ops guys were like, listen, I know you've just finished, you've worked all day, we really need all hands on deck because we can't get back in until 5. We really need all hands on deck to get it moved by 7:30 or whatever it was, which is when people start coming in, because obviously the first waves are at 8, so we needed to have it done by 7. That was right. And it was just like, you know, again, moving the merch is not a small job. It was a gigantic job. Like, you got to move the tills, the electricity, you got to speak to the power, the light boxes in the you know, containers that hold the merch, the changing rooms, you know, all of this stuff is and so it was like, and this is what I mean about and the reason that I keep working for them is because the sort of team is so good, the UK core team. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, all right, we'll do it. We'll all come in at 5 and we'll do it together. Many hands make light work. And everybody just came in and did it. And it was just like, and you feel tired, but you're so in it sort of for each other, and everybody wants the best event possible. Everyone's in it together. So we all got there, you know, moved the merch, and we did it within minutes. It was like, oh, customers are coming in, you know, athletes are coming in, but we did it. And then everyone's, you know, like what you guys said, the next day, everyone's like, oh, it was so much better. And it was like, keeps everybody in the same area, and it's good vibes, and it's always worth it when you do it. But you know, like I said,
I like that you had the guts and the bot, whoever makes the decision or whatever, or as a group you all decide, because the easy option, or the, I guess, safe option is like, oh no, just leave it. Like, it is what it is. We've set it up like that. But like, you weren't afraid to, after the first day, like, think and use your initiative and go, well, no, actually it didn't really work. Let's change it. Whereas like, I think other like people, companies, places are just like, okay, well, we'll do better next time or next event. Whereas like, you actually made it happen there and then, which is like, yeah, the best thing you could have done. Because I think like so many people won't have even noticed because they'll have just come on that day, but they'll have had a much better experience because of it. Like,
and everybody gets involved. Like we're a sports team, technically would we have been doing that normally? No, but we're there, the office team are there, the media team are there, like we're all there just doing it together. And it's you know, it gives you like a bit of like a for the next day, like let's go again.
No, that's incredible, isn't it? Like, that's so funny that we picked it up, and it's quite cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, we did. So just let everyone know, we picked it up. We did see it, and we definitely picked it up. We were like, God, that is so much better.
Yeah. But then we also crossing, and it was like, oh, you do have to just on the job sometimes. It's like, right, what are we doing? But,
Yeah, no, I mean, fair play. Yeah, kudos for sure. It is. It's a big job. Okay, so then everyone comes in and races. Obviously, we hope it all goes smoothly. There's not too many like equipment issues or medicals, but I guess you just like go with it on the day. And then you, so if there was a 2-day event for the next day, what would you do that evening if you were racing again at the same venue the next day?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Like, so if it wasn't just like take away the kit and like events over, if you're going again the next day, do you clean stuff or sort stuff? Like,
so you set up completely as if it was the first day again, and then often we clean. So we would clean like just in case, because like I think, where were we? Might have been London. The venue had said, don't worry, the venue have cleaners, they'll come in and clean. And I think they just didn't come, and I'm not sure what happened. So it was like brilliant, but luckily we learnt from that. So we always like hoover the carpets the night before, anyway. So yeah, I can't take any credit for that. That's obviously happened at a different event where that happened, because I was like, why are we hoovering this if the cleaners are in the morning? But in case they don't come in. And you see what it's like with the chalk, like it's just chalk. People just like to roll around in chalk. So we try and get as much of that up as possible. So yeah, we do. We reset it completely. We obviously see if the waves are different in the morning, like if the weights need to be set differently, we'll change the sleds, we'll change the dampener on the ski ergs and the rower. We'll make sure that everything's got battery. So yeah, you basically just have to start again completely fresh.
Man, crazy, isn't it? And then at the end of an event, is it the same? You just like strip it all down as a big team together, or is that left to the ops team? Or
pretty much. So sports team are like in charge of some things. So we would do things like pull up all the floor tape,
that's a fun job.
But the like kettlebells away, collect like sort of little bits and bobs, chalks and things like that. Sometimes like the flags and the banners and stuff that you see, that's sports team. And then anything that involves like forklifts, then that's ops team.
The ops team, And are you like absolutely shattered by the end? Like Olympia, just like going off Olympia, were you just like, did it take you weeks or like days to go over? Or are you just like adrenaline?
I get a bit of like event come down, so I always feel like, I was having so much fun yesterday, and then even though you're really tired, so I like to take a couple of days, but like I think my Garmin told me that I'd done the equivalent of 3 marathons on Olympia.
That is mental.
Steps, baby. So that was really, you sort of forget how intense it is, because in the moment you're like, and also like I always think the DJs are so good and you're excited, and obviously like Faisal and Getty and Gus are so everybody's pumped, and then you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh my goodness. But you just you pack down at the end, and then you all like, you always think it's going to be early, because like at the end we have like relays, and then it finishes a little bit earlier on the last day, but it's never that early. And then everyone goes back. Like not often people stay on the last night, because obviously a lot of us have other jobs, and you can't take a day off work or whatever, so people just go home, and it might be down the road if it's London, or it might be that they get on a plane to a different country. So it kind of depends. All the team is from all over the place, so if we have time to go out and have a beer together, then we definitely will. Sometimes it works out like that, sometimes it doesn't, but it's just, job well done, isn't it? Everyone has a bit when we go home.
It's crazy, isn't it? And it must be like, I guess the same as like the athletes and the people competing. Like you guys have been on such a buzz and such a high with all the adrenaline and getting people through. And like, I mean, like just saying like on the wall ball station, seeing people and like and buzzing for people finishing and seeing people achieve stuff as well. Like you're riding that high, as well as the fact you've just all pulled off an event. Because like
definitely
to be happy that the event's been a success as well, which I think like pretty much every single event has. I know there's always teething problems, which there's always going to be, and when you've got that many people
genuinely but genuinely everybody in Hyrox cares. Like I've not ever, I've done a lot of events with a lot of different big companies, but genuinely the guys are like upset if somebody hasn't had the best experience, whatever. If somebody gets injured, they're gutted. They follow it up with the family afterwards. If anyone's had to leave, or see a paramedic or see an ambulance or whatever, like now I know always gets a full debrief from the medical team. They check in on the family, they make sure they're okay. Like they're bothered, they're genuinely bothered. And like sometimes, I don't know if you guys have done many like end of days at the event, but like you'll get some athletes coming around. I tell you what, this is one of the reasons I stay. You know, it might be Sandra, who's 60 from Portsmouth. Like this is going to be the biggest thing she's ever done, like the most exciting, hardest thing that this woman has ever done. And like all of the team just get so like, we'll walk it with her, we'll be next to her, we're there at the wall balls, like, and it's such a sort of coming together moment. You've seen those like amazing reels of like people doing their last wall ball reps or whatever, and it gives you such a buzz, like you just want to go again. And I love the everyday athletes. I love it. I obviously love watching the elite guys. It's a really fun sport to watch. You went, you know, when people are really going for it. But for me, you know, someone that's recovering from a hip replacement, or someone that's doing their kid, or like, I just love watching them. I just think watch humans like really push. I just love it.
Yeah, it gives me like, I mean, I've said it a few times, like, but definitely like kind of a bit like London Marathon vibes, where you've got the elites and they're amazing, but also you love watching the London Marathon for watching like everyone coming at the back, like in fancy dress, or people that have been working for years to do it, or people that are taking it off, or people that have come back from injury, or like, it's just, yeah, it's cool to see everyone cover the same distance. And Hyrox is the same. It's like everyone's done the same race.
Yeah,
everyone's pushed their own limits
at the same time. Like how cool. If you really, I really look up to an athlete. So actually, this is interesting. So the way that I got asked to be a head judge from a volunteer is, do you know Sarah Holden?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I volunteer judged Sarah Holden on a race where she was having a terrible, terrible calf cramp. And like she'd had a really horrible time, and she'd run this race, and she came into the wall balls and I was judging her, and she's like, I'm just done. I just want to give up. Like, I'm in so much pain. I can't do the reps and And I honestly did not know her at all. I'd never met her. I didn't follow her on Instagram. I didn't really know that much about Hyrox at this point. Didn't know, you know, I just didn't know her. And I was like, what? Why would you give up you're on the wall balls? Like, you're nearly done. What are you doing? And like, I remember just giving her this like hype after hype after hype. And I was like, you know, you're doing amazing. Just 5 reps, take a break, 5 reps. And she finished the wall balls, and like, she's clearly is a competitive athlete. She'd obviously slowed at the end of this race. She went off to go through the finish line, and before she finished, she came back, gave me a massive hug, and then went and walked and finished her race. And I thought, oh, that was so cool. But like, I'm really glad that I got her through it. So I didn't know that she was like, you know, she does a lot of Hyroxes. A lot of Hyrox UK guys know her. A lot of my friends followed her on Instagram, were like, oh, she's a great athlete. And she ended up like speaking to the UK team to say, I had this volunteer judge who was just like amazing and like really like helped me through. She put a photo of me on her Instagram story that was like, does anyone know who this is? As I want to find her and say thank you. So it got sent to me, and I then was like, oh yeah, it's me. So then she obviously recommended me to become a head judge, just because like, you know, just such a little thing can make such a big difference. So it was like, yeah, that was very cool. I sort of forgot about that.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah, and just shows that like everyone's a team and helping each other out. Like, that's really nice that then something small can go a long way, can't it?
Yeah, obviously made a difference on the day, but yeah, so that was that was a nice thing. But yeah,
no,
that's crazy. That's awesome.
And you mentioned it there a little bit about, obviously, like, you love the everyday athlete, but we of course have to like mention the elites and give credit to them. And thinking of next season now, like, have you done a race assistant or worked a major?
So I volunteered at Manchester World Champs.
Because I was just thinking one of the majors is going to be in Glasgow.
Yeah.
So is that hopefully? Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, so I volunteered. So they'd already, this was like just at the time when they were asking me to become a head judge, but they'd allocated head judges for Manchester at that point, which was a lot of like race directors from around the globe. I think they were obviously like, these standards need to be, which they always are, world champs anyway. I mean, they are at every event. And they do like really like very thorough briefings with judges now, and you know, and there's like courses and things that people can do to make themselves like, you know, so really good. But I hadn't basically made the cut by that point, and they were like, well, do you just want to come and volunteer? And I was like, yeah. So I did. So it was really good.
Oh, cool.
Manchester.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, like, I guess there's maybe, well, there obviously is a difference in the setup and everything, because when it's the elites, then you're doing the grid format, and then that's different, and then like it's a whole.
Yeah, so I haven't done that yet. So
yeah,
that would be interesting to see. But yeah, it will be equally as thorough, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet. If not more so.
Yeah, exciting though.
Looking forward to next year then, and next season, or the season that's already started, I guess, kind of. With like the Asia side and Australia. What do you get ahead of time? The races you're going to do? Do you find out before anyone, and like, or do you have to do a certain amount, or how does it work for you?
No, you don't. Like, all the guys that work for Hyrox are essentially like event day staff, are essentially freelance. So you normally just give your availability, and then they will ask you this or that. And so yeah, so that works pretty easily. So that you give your availability, availability initially as they're like putting the race calendar together. It won't be out yet, and you sort of do a second layer of that where they'll say, okay, well, these are going to be the dates, who's around, and you say, yeah, I can do them, or no, I can't do them, and then
cool.
then you
do
do. Yeah.
And do you have to do, because you said about the exams, do you have to do a certain amount of races before you can like go and do exams for race director and stuff? Is it like a process like that?
So
5 races.
And then and then you do your race director exam where it's just monitored. I mean, you're not really doing anything differently to what you've been doing, like, you know, nothing should be new. It's just I guess it's how you handle situations
totally.
under pressure, and a bit like we do with music festival events or normal events, you know. So so you do 5, do that, and then you're a race director rather than an assistant.
Crazy.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Are you hoping for a busy Hyrox season for yourself, or because obviously you've got your own company as well? Do you know how much you're going to be doing, or not too sure yet?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, not 100% sure yet. Like, for me, if I can do them, then I will do them, because I really genuinely really enjoy them. Like, I don't do them because I feel like I should, or like I need a bit of extra cash, or like anything like that. Like, I do them because I genuinely love them. I really enjoy them, and like, you know, a lot of my friends race now. I like being there, and so I do them. They always feel like, it's funny because I have to take a bit of time off my work, and I'm still working, but I feel like I've had a little holiday. So so I'll, if I'm around, I will. I'm getting married next year, so it depends.
Congratulations.
Thanks. So
another event to organize.
I know. So it depends on the dates and things, when they fall, and like honeymoon and whatever. There'll be, I'm sure, some that I'm not available for, but who knows? I'll just wait.
You mean you're not doing a Hyrox race on your honeymoon?
I know. They were like, you want to do one for your hen do? I was like, no, I might, but I don't think my granny would appreciate that very much.
Oh, bless her. Get her in there. She could team up with the badass gran.
Yeah, I know.
They could do a little duo.
Oh God, love it.
Oh well, if you need a table plan, you could get in touch with Nat, couldn't you? She could whack you.
Give me
you don't need to worry about quick CAD drawing. You'll be sorted. Get them all lined up perfectly. You'll have everyone working till like 1 a.m. to get your wedding sorted.
Oh, love it. Well, do you mind if we finish off by asking you the cheeky insight questions, which are more on racing as opposed to the behind the scenes? But I think that would round it off nicely, because I think we could just talk for hours and hours and hours about all the behind the scenes of the race. But when you are racing, what shoes do you wear to race Hyrox?
So I don't know if you've seen, but they Puma give the head judges and the race directors the nitros, like nitros of the season, whatever the new stuff is. And I honestly, like, I used to wear Nobles and Asics all the time, and like I was getting given these nitros and I was like, oh, this is definitely like it's like a uniform, I should have to wear them. And I've honestly got to the point where they are my preferred running shoe. I love them. So like I will, yeah, I am total convert. So I would wear them now by choice to race, even if I wasn't wearing them as my uniform. So yeah, I love them.
And if you're doing 3 marathons when when you're working, you need some decent trainers even to work.
I know. No, yeah, they're so comfy. I love them.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, so what's your favorite Hyrox venue? I mean, this could be at either angle, for racing or setup or behind the scene. Yeah. Aesthetics, I don't know.
I think if you're going aesthetics and this is racing or directing, I just think Olympia is just so Instagrammable. I love it.
Instagrammable. Oh, yeah. I love that.
Isn't it? Like, I love it. To be honest, for me, like the NEC, I really like. It's very easy to get to from where I live. So I just think the NEC is a good venue, good parking. Like, love that. But I think Olympia is definitely my favorite to look at. I think we're just lucky because I think Manchester's a venue as well.
Yeah. Olympia and Manchester are just amazing venues, like the actual like
I think we said Manchester, didn't we? But then Olympia was pretty bloody cool with the 2. Like it was just
wasn't it so
more wow factor? Crazy.
Yeah, I think if you went to Olympia the year before and then you saw Olympia this year, like it was
so big this year compared to last year.
Okay, what's your favorite Hyrox station?
Warbles.
I knew it was going to be Warbles.
Yeah, I love them.
Do you like them in the race as much?
Yeah, no, I actually do. I love a Warble for whatever reason. Like I've got, this is so random, but I've got naturally a really deep squat, so I can kind of do that thing that people do where I like bounce off my heels. I can, and I just think for Warbles that's such a cheat code, isn't it? Like I don't feel like I'm doing like a controlled squat. I'm just bouncing. Like, so for me, I'm just really lucky that my knees like it. I love a Warble.
Love it. Oh, it is. It's good, especially with the Thunderdome now. It's a good station. Okay, if you could, well, you've already done doubles Hyrox, but if you could do doubles Hyrox with anyone in the world, who would it be?
Oh, anyone in the world?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like an athlete or anything. Like it could be someone totally random.
I mean, for some reason, my head is just going to like superheroes. Is that more?
Why not?
Deadpool. No, I don't know. Who would I do a Hyrox duo with?
Oh, we've caught you off guard here.
Yeah, you have. I mean, yeah, can I say like Spider-Man or someone? I feel like his squat depth would be great.
Squat depth.
Perfect. We've not had that answer before, so yes.
He's not going to drop anything, is he? Like, that's great.
The fastest Warbles.
Yeah.
Love it, why not? Okay, next one is, do you fuel for Hyrox, and if so, what fuel do you use?
So I know this is like really not the way to do it, I'm sure, and all of the fitness professionals will be like, you are a dumb idiot, but I for some reason have got into a habit of very specifically eating like those supermarket bags of brioche.
Oh yeah.
I literally fuel all Hyrox with supermarket packeted brioche.
I mean, actually, like simple sugars, fast acting, like that's probably not that bad.
I'm not very like Liam, like my fiance is like militant about like porridge at this time, and then he eats this at this time, and a protein bar and a clear whey or whatever, and I just walk along with my
rock to the supermarket.
He's just like, oh, for God's sake. So yeah, love it. Brioche.
Why not?
To be fair, I'm not allowed to say it, but I love a Nocco. I love Nocco. I know we love Red Bull here. I know we're team Red Bull.
Yeah, other options are available.
But I also just love Nocco. I'll have both. I don't mind, but like I love a Nocco.
Fair, that's fair.
Brioche and Nocco, nailed it.
It's terrible. Sorry.
What is your favorite type of training session for Hyrox? Like it could be like AMRAP, a long run, like it doesn't have to be super specific, but
definitely not a long run. I think it is an AMRAP. Like I love those sessions where it's like a few different movements. I do find that sort of like threshold, that like engine building stuff, like I get it, I know why it's important, but it's boring. So for me, like if I have to choose for like fun and love, like I want to get a few of my mates, like squad members, and we'll like go through and just do a few rounds of whatever together, and you have a bit of a laugh with it, make it a bit competitive, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Fair shout.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I mean, I think we kind of covered this at the start, but in a nutshell, why should someone sign up for their first Hyrox?
Someone should sign up to their first Hyrox because it's a really amazing challenge to set yourself. And as long as you can hit those movement standards, and actually arguably even if you can't, like everybody can finish that race, everybody can get around that course. You know, they obviously do if you can't finish it for whatever reason, if you can't hit you know, the lunges or whatever, then you can have a DNF, as in you won't get an official time, but nobody will ever throw you off that course. Like you have a right to be there and a right to do it and a right to do your best. And it's amazing to do your first one and feel like an absolute superhero, and then know exactly what you have to do to train to do another one and just do better and be better. And I think it's so scalable, and it's like the atmosphere is amazing, and the MCs, like again I've said already, but massive big up. We love Vise and Geddy and Gus. Like you just feel great at the end of them. Like I just recommend it to people all the time, and I think anybody, any everyday athlete, like you look at Tor, my best friend, who could literally not walk around Disneyland a few years ago, and she is trained almost specifically for Hyrox, like has not been in a gym before, has done this like functional fitness stuff, and has used Hyrox as a benchmark, and she's done it, and like she's living with terminal cancer, she has chemo every 3 weeks. Like you can do it if you put your mind to it, and everybody will support you in that feat. I love it.
Yeah, amen to that. Literally.
Yeah, I can't really say anything more than that.
No, I know.
And Tor
totally
PB'd
agree
as well. Like she PB'd
She's so great.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and lastly, is there anyone that you would love to see on our podcast? Or it doesn't have to be a specific person, but maybe like we've got you for behind the scenes. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be.
Yeah, I think maybe a member of the ops team, that would be really cool, because obviously they work mad hours and they work really, really hard. Definitely someone that's maybe involved in like the sort of affiliates and the membership and like the 365 and stuff like that coming out. It'd be really interesting for gyms to hear about that.
That's a good idea.
And then for me, I just love, again, the humans of Hyrox. I just love all the people that you hear doing it and killing it, and it's great.
Yeah, it's so nice. It's like, and that's why we wanted to do this podcast, is to speak to like just the variety of people that do everything to make something work. So like everyone behind the scenes, and like everyone from your everyday athlete to your elite athlete. It's like, it's really cool to get the whole, just see everything from different people's perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, like brings everyone together. It's very cool.
Yeah, it totally does, because I think you can tell from speaking to everyone, like if you listened to every episode, like there is that continuity that everyone just loves the sport. Everyone's just really passionate about it and loves the community and the atmosphere. So it just works, like whatever level or whatever part of it you are, it's like, yeah, everyone's just buzzing about it.
Yeah, I just think there's nothing quite like it. And I think even if you're not a real fitness person or not into it, or you're a bit nervous to start, like if you can find a Hyrox affiliate gym, like generally, I mean, certainly all the ones near us, like people just want, like, so amazing as a human being to be in a room full of people that want to see you win. And I just think Hyrox sort of helped facilitate that a lot. So I think if people are a bit anxious about the gym, and I can see when you look at Hyrox as like a thing, you're like, oh, it's really intimidating. But I think even just enjoy the process of like training for Hyrox and stuff like that. I just think it's a really cool way to sort of bring people together, and it's it's wicked.
No, I love that. I think that's That's awesome. And if anyone wants to follow you or get in contact, maybe you've been their wall ball judge like you were Sarah's, and they want to get in contact to find you. Maybe Spider-Man wants to, reach out and see if you'll do doubles. Where does he find you?
So I'm on Instagram. That would be just probably the easiest place. I think, did you DM me on Instagram initially?
I think I may have slipped into your DMs.
Yeah, so
fancy a podcast.
yeah. It's just Suzy _Keeping. There's nothing interesting about it really, but that's where.
No, that's
generally I just post about Hyrox and the gym.
Yeah, exactly. If someone wants to find out a bit more about Hyrox and get more Hyrox content on their feed,
I'll be there.
Suzy's Hyrox.
So yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's always good to hear from people, and like I said, like all of that sort of feedback and stuff, like even if people DM me, like I'm going to pass that back to the team and to the guys. So yeah, always worth it reaching out if you've got something to say.
No, yeah, it's awesome, and we really appreciate you giving us a bit of background into just how much effort the whole team puts in. I think it's eye-opening, isn't it? Like both of us were discussing it even just at Olympia when we left. I think both of us were just blown away by how big it was and just what it takes to put on such a successful event for that many people.
Yeah, and you think like that's just like a lot of that is just event team. Like you think about the guys that are in the UK office day in, day out, like this is their one, full-time job. Like the Hyrox is grown into this beast that is like, I'm very happy to watch it grow, but like these guys are just they're smashing it. They're just keeping up all the time. It's like it's unheard of for a company to grow like this in this amount of time. Like I certainly can't think of something comparable. And they just never, I've seen recently that they're hiring for an assistant marketing manager. Like they're just all the time like getting bigger and bigger, and they keep up and they make it better, and they so yeah, I obviously come at it from an event day perspective, but there are people that are working this day in, day out every day, all year. So big up Hyrox UK because they are wicked.
Yeah, and I think we can say on behalf of probably a lot of people, like, and certainly on behalf of us, thank you to everyone who's involved on the days, behind the scenes, like in the offices, setting up, taking down, picking tape off the floor. Like it is appreciated because like the amount of work that goes into it is incredible, and it's amazing that it's growing at as well as it is. So yeah, thank you from us.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that'll be a good conclusion to the episode today. Thank you very much to everyone that's been listening. Hopefully it's been a really good insight for everybody that's listened, and you found out a little bit more about what goes into the race. And next time you go, give a little fist pump to the race directors, to the volunteers, to the ops team, to anyone that's there, and we will join you on the next episode.